right. Little Miss Muffet sat on a tuffet, eating her crunchy granola. Whoa, that was a 4-head. That was an 8-head. Good morning. Good morning. You know, pretty much, I'll give you a sneaky clue. If you're ever wondering if I'm going to be doing like a TikTok live and a pop-up, well, first of all, I will say, hey, morning, folks. I see people starting to filter in. Awesome. German Maid, Elizabeth, Care Bear, Jamie, Cat Mama, Isabel, Dana, all the puppets out in Puppet Land. What I want to offer to you is a sneak behind the scenes up here, which is I will almost never, I'm not saying, notice how I'm not being 100% declarative. I will very rarely, if ever, that's a good way to put it, start a TikTok live either anytime other than top of the hour, as we used to say in college radio, or bottom of the hour. So it's 10:31 here on Destination Decluttered. I'm Beth. I'll be here with you for the next hour. Blah, blah, blah. Listen to me, my FM radio voice. Here, I'm going to open up the blinds because the sun is finally out. The sun is finally out. And I am precariously precared on a chair here with a big old pillow. There we go. All right, 1138. Lovely name. Happy Sunday to you, too. Looking forward to seeing you this morning. Thank you as always. Well, thank you in advance for the thank you in advance. I really love showing up like this. I find it's just so, such a direct way of getting in touch with you if you're struggling with clutter. Maybe also, frankly, meeting new people. You know, there are so many people in this planet, in this world, in this country, hello, United States, that we struggle with clutter and stuff. It shouldn't be a surprise because we live in a capitalist society that encourages us to buy stuff, and we identify. I was thinking about this on my morning walk. We learn how to discover who we are by what we buy and what we don't buy. By what you know what I mean? What colors we're attracted to, what styles we are. We try on different things as we begin to develop ourselves. I was on a phone call with a friend who was struggling with clutter yesterday, shortly after my TikTok live. And, you know, he was saying, because he's of an age, Gen Xers, hello, any other Gen Xers in the house, right? He was saying, yeah, you know, in our 20s, it was fun. You would jump into the car and you'd go to a thrift store or a garage sale or a yard sale, or you'd pick something up on the side of the road and you would see value in something somebody had discarded. It made you feel good to be like, oh, I know, I could do something with that. Well, think about it. In your 20s, you start with nothing and you have stuff. But every decade that you do that, you just build up what I call like the pile of stuff, so that in 30 or 40 years, unless you have kind of sorted through it all along, stuff has started to accumulate. Okay? And so cut yourself some slack. All the F over the place. Okay? Yay, German Maid, Gen X. We need like you know, it's so funny. We're like, we need a symbol. I'm like, nah, that's too non-Gen X. Like, whatever. We'll know each other by the whatever. Cut yourself some slack all over the place. Every day. Yeah. Time and age to reverse the process. Yes, you start piling it up. By identifying yourself, think of it as, I love this. I was an art history major. I was never particularly crafty with like the creating of stuff, but think about 2 ways to create a sculpture called your life. One of them is by adding things, adding pieces of clay and creating something. But sometimes you realize you have too much clay, and then you do the opposite. You pare down, you take off. What was it? Michelangelo, is he the one who did David? And I should know that, again, art history major, you can see how often I put it into practice, said, you know, how did you do that? And he said, I carved away everything that was not David. Carving away what is not you is an artistic process, is a way of rediscovering who you are, and not even rediscovering, but discovering who you are today. Today's neighborhood drugstore, CVS, am I right? Okay, so just think about that. You have accumulated a lot of stuff that represents who you are up until this point. Now, what a wonderful time to kind of look at that stuff and say, does this stuff still serve me the way I thought it would, the way I hoped it would? I'm looking at bookcases like you wouldn't believe right here, right? Because back 30 years ago, the only way you could get information wasn't the internet, it was books. So if you were interested in something like, you know, I don't know, slang from the 30s, or, you know, cool old vintage places to go to. You had to buy the book. Now things are different. Now, do I still keep my books? Yeah, I do, because they represent me. And also, it would look kind of weird. Like, if I had no books in my bookshelves, they'd be empty. I like them, but I don't add to them anymore. Okay? So, I am here to help you with that. So, one of the ways I do that, let me just, before I jump into the comments, and I will get to the comments and the questions, let me just give you a couple of tips right off the bat. One is, I do these TikTok lives. This one's a pop-up. What does that mean, pop-up? It means like I haven't decided, frankly, when I'm going to do it, because it's the weekend. I don't always do them. But if I'm going to do a pop-up, you knew about it if you were on the Destination Decluttered email mailing list. DestinationDecluttered.com/join. Join that. You're going to get all the info for everything I always do. It's the email thing is always free. It's never like a sales funnel or whatever the frick they call those things. But DestinationDecluttered.com/join is where you knew that I was going to show up today and yesterday before noontime Eastern. You also know already, before anybody else who's not on the list, as to when my TikTok lives for this following week are scheduled. So it'll behoove you to learn about your uvula. It'll behoove you to sign up for that if it's something you're interested in. You will also get first dibs on the thing that I really love to do, which is one-on-one coaching. Now, that's the thing people pay for, because then you get me all to yourself. You get somebody in your life who knows what the F they're doing, who can help you get from cluttered to uncluttered, and all we do is take care of you, not the hundreds of people that are on a live, kind of group thing. You pay for the ability to have us work together just on what you are stuck with. And this is a 10-session program that I do, a package. And sometimes people are done in 10 sessions. Very rarely, I will honestly tell you. But then all you do is add for another 10 and another 10. So you also get first dibs on the consultations that lead to coaching by joining the mailing list. Or you can just go directly to my website, DestinationDecluttered.com, and there's a work with me page, yada, yada. So that's kind of the commercial break here before we dive into what you're struggling with, okay? So DR says, what are some tips for living with an organized people when you're organized? Okay, I think one of those is living with disorganized people when you're organized, or the flip side, living with organized people when you're disorganized. At the very heart of it, notice even that phrase we use, at the very heart of it, use your heart. Look at these people not as adversaries of I'm cluttered and you're not. Trust me, I'm helping my husband go through his clutter now. Show up in love. In love, with your heart filled with that energy of love. You can generate it right now. Think of someone you love. Notice how it feels in your body, how much you love that person. Person I love, I'm thinking of, is in the other room, probably goofing around on his computer. When you show up in love for that person, you won't show up in judgment. You won't be like, in adversarial move and judgment. You will be in collaboration mode, in curiosity mode, in let's work together. How can I help you? I understand where you're coming from. And when you show up in that energy, crap, this is how I show up on these TikTok lives, and I don't even know y'all. But I show up knowing that I don't show up in judgment. I am here to collaborate with you. Stop, collaborate, and listen, right? And when you show up in that energy, people are more likely to open up and maybe share with you what they're struggling with, okay? Or just... Are you struggling with anything out there, Jay?
The lid over in this thing.
Put a lid on it, all right? Show up in love. Now, notice even right then when I had that live thing where my husband's, something clattered in the kitchen, I could have been like, Jesus, what are you doing? I'm doing a TikTok live. Nah. Laugh about it. Have fun. Show up in a light spirit, and that will help you even start the journey. And that doesn't matter if you're the cluttered one or the decluttered one. If you're the cluttered one, you could show up and be like, I am struggling. I don't know how to declutter. I've never taught this. It doesn't organically, I don't have a good system in the way my brain works to do it. Love, L-U-V, luff, as Davy Jones might call it, okay? So notice that. Notice that your energy is going to be, your energy behind freaking everything will change everything, okay? So, okay, Pamela, God, getting deep right away. I realized that I was discarded, so I don't want to discard my things that still have value. Yes. Many of us who feel like nobody noticed the value in us and we were ignored, kind of, what's the word, anthropomorphize. I believe I pronounced that correctly. We give inanimate objects human characteristics. In my family, with one of my sisters, we call it poor paper plate. You know, you see a paper plate, we were joking about that. You know, it's like, oh, that poor paper plate, somebody discarded it. I'm going to take home and take care of it. Noticing where you came from, noticing that tendency you have, you can rewrite that script. What you can say is, okay, I see you have value, but maybe I'm not the right person. Maybe I have too much that I'm seeing value in everything. I see value in a lot of stuff, but I have also learned to realize that I may not be the best match for that thing. Boy, did I accumulate a lot of crafty things like to upcycle because I could do something with that. Then I realized, no, something could be done with that empty jar. I know there's a TikTok I saw recently about the empty jar. Something could be done with that empty jar that's better than throwing it in the trash. Sometimes I am the person who does that, but other times if the stuff is accumulating, I realize I am not the person to bring that thing to its full potential. Okay? Notice that you have value and love for that thing, Pamela, that you could say, you know what? I see value in you, but it's not you and me. I'm not going to give you your full potential. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put you somewhere. I'm going to send you back out into the world, back into circulation. Think about it like dating too. You're a really cool person, but you're not doing it for me. Hanging out with me is going to stop you from finding the person that you're going to be better suited for. So you're not discarding it. What you're doing it is you're donating it, you're sharing it, you're offering it out, you're putting it on a free table. So somebody else who can do something with it can allow it to grow to its full potential. Think about how you think about stuff. Think about when you think about I'm discarding it, it keeps you hanging on to stuff. But if you say, you know what, I'm going to release it out into the wild, let it go out there and find its true meaning. That's better for it and you feel better. And when you feel better, when you think better, you feel better. When you feel better, you do better. Okay? How about that, Charlie Brown? Okay. There we go. 1138 said, heading to the laundry room. I am Pavlov's puppy here in the fact that people hear my voice and they want to declutter. All right, let me scroll here. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of, okay? Yep. My child has some sensory sensitivity, and I believe there's a correlation to that in her adversity. Paying attention to how things make you feel. And feeling, we often think of the senses, how things look, how things hear, taste, smell, and all that. How things feel can be tactile. How does this feel? Oh, I feel sweaty because I was walking. This feels comfortable. This is prickly. You can be very sensitive to things, but also sensitive out here and sensitive in here. Nervous system feelings and external tactile feelings, soft, rough, whatever. Work with that. Notice it. I never knew. My sister kind of made fun of me, but that's like how my family rolls. She was like, yeah, every time I got a hand-me-down from you, I never knew like what the designer was because it probably came from like Marshall's or, you know what I mean, someplace, Bradley's, Caldor, or what size it was because you clipped all the tags out. And I was like, well, yeah, because I will never forget wearing this pair of shorts. I believe it was 4th grade, 75, 76. They were cute shorts. They were bright yellow, and they had this kind of elastic waistband of kind of, I want to say it was kind of like a crepey kind of elastic. It had a big button in the middle, bright yellow with a rainbow kind of crepey thing, and it had a tag in the back. I loved those shorts, but when I wore them, the tag would itch on my back. Now, that was a tactile thing where it roughed it up, but it also made me feel uncomfortable. I couldn't focus because I was being rubbed the wrong way about my thing. I found a solution, cutting up the tag. It felt better. I actually remember, this is so weird that I remember this. I remember not knowing what to do, so I remember at one point taking a piece of masking tape and putting it there and taping it to the back, thinking that would be done. But notice how things that make you feel a certain way make you act a certain way. So, very cool insight right there. Kringle is asking the age-old question, how do you stop from recluttering the same space over and over? Change of habit. Now, I think that was the name of an Elvis movie. maybe with Mary Tyler Moore as a nun, change of habit. Watch how I do this. This is how my brain looks at it. This is how my body does this, okay? I rarely say to look at the camera when I'm doing this, but think about it. Clutter is a big old pile of stuff. Clutter is not gonna get into Taylor Swift, but clutter is a big pile of stuff that is accumulated, and notice I'm doing it over here. In your past, prior to today, you have accumulated a giant pile of clutter. Think of it that way. Decluttering is sorting through that clutter and knocking down the number of things that you keep, is deciding what you want and what you don't want, getting rid of what you don't want, and that is an act in itself. However, the way you got cluttered is you have habits. You have habits, daily habits that got you bringing things in, putting things down, putting things away, not putting things away, bringing in too much, letting go of too little. That right there is the daily habit that got you cluttered. So if you declutter, but you don't change your habits, you're going to reclutter. So everybody today, get yourself really, really curious and just notice, not with judgment, with curiosity. Curious George. With curiosity, notice the habits that get your places look cluttered. Because here's the thing I want to suggest. We always want it to be, oh my God, then I don't know, it got recluttered somehow, mysteriously, like little people from Stonehenge creep into your house at night and clutter it up, and then you wake up in the morning and you say, how did this stuff get here? Oh, there was a little gnome party. If that happens, you tell me, we're going to the National Enquirer and being famous. Sadly, Occam's razor has come up a lot recently. The simple answer is, it's you, my dear. You're the problem. It's you. It's not a problem. You just have habits of putting your stuff down, not putting it away. Maybe you're not putting it away because you don't have a home for it. Maybe you're not putting it away because when you go to put it in the home is crammed with stuff that shouldn't belong there. There's a process. Surface, stored, sentimental. Your stuff is on your surfaces, maybe because your storage is full. That will require some decluttering, but then also changing your habits to then not reclutter. And that is a habit. Cluttering is a habit. Recluttering is a habit. Change your habit, change your life. Hope that helps. All right. River DLC says, I have ADHD and I use your lives to body double. I get more done on your lives than any other time. Okay, River DLC, thank you so much for sharing that with me. I have ADHD in my family. I myself have not been formally diagnosed, but I wouldn't be surprised if I'm, kind of like I'm half Irish, half Scottish, half, all that kind of stuff. I would not be surprised at all if I'm at least half ADHD. I see it in my family. I grew up in an environment that when I look back on it now, whoo boy, was an ADHD environment, okay? But what I want to suggest to you, pause for effect, is me showing up and you doing stuff when I'm around is great. Do not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Use any tool. Create a toolkit. When I coach people, we create a toolkit. What does that mean? It means things that you can rely on to help you get stuff done. A hammer, a screwdriver, some pliers. I use the driving metaphor a lot, so I technically should come up with like the car equivalent, but I don't really work on my car. But you get the idea. Things you can rely on to make things, fix things, get things working again. So me showing up and doing a TikTok live, that's great. The recordings of my TikTok lives, listening to them when they're on YouTube. I will admit, kind of as an aside, can you tell I probably am ADHD because I'm like, as an aside, there's been some issues with YouTube, so I haven't been able to, there's a technical glitch. I haven't been able to upload the last many, but I'm working on that. Notice you have that, but here's what I want you to think of, okay, is I love you guys. I want to show up in your life for the right amount of time to teach you how to create these tools, to learn how to use these tools. I will share these. You don't have to create anything from scratch. I already have them. I want to be in your life to share these tools with you, to be with you as you practice and you notice that they work, to notice when they don't work so you have comfort in messing around with them to find them where they work better. And then practice until you don't need me in your life anymore. You're like, I've got this. I can do it on my own. So River DLC, for the moment, I love that I'm in your life to do this. What I want you to think of too is, though, what do you get? Everybody, what do you get from these TikTok lives that I do? I'm going to offer, this is what I think. You tell me. For an hour, every couple of days or so, or anytime you hit the feeder button and you pop one of the recordings on, you get a cease and desist on the unhelpful backseat driver thoughts. The thoughts that are in your head that come unbidden to all of us for the rest of our lives that discourage you. And for an hour, because I usually do my TikToks for an hour you get a steady stream of love and positivity and encouragement externally. My words going to your brain has a positive effect. That's why you're able to do it. Probably also just kind of quiets those down because you really can't hear two voices at once. What I want you to learn, though, from me, you guys, is to temporarily hear my voice in your ears. Somebody up thread 1138 said, I hear your voice. I'm going to go do laundry. I want you to hear the words I am saying, and I want you to start to hear it in your own voice, that you can talk to yourself internally from what I call your co-pilot voice, from in the way that I talk to you externally. Okay? I know that's a lot deep. I go deep quick because the superficial is superficial. This is where the change happens. When you learn how to quiet down your own backseat drivers and then listen for and create the words that you would rather hear, because those words in your head make you think better, feel better than you do better. That's what I want you to learn from me. It's like learning how to drive a car. You practice something you've never done before. You get better while somebody's there. And then at a certain point, all right, I think I can do this on my own. I practice. The more you practice, the better you get. And I'm not saying you need to abandon me. I will always be here. But I want you to learn how to do it yourself so that you never need to rely on anybody but yourself for that motivation. Now, we are also human creatures that thrive on community. So I myself, even though I'm a coach and I coach myself, it helps me to get external coaching. But starting to develop it so I'm not reliant on the coaching, I'm not leaning on the coaching, but I have that as something in addition to what I already can do inside. Okay? Hope that helps. 41 new messages. Charlie Brown. Oh my gosh. Dan Zilzizi say, your wall colors are so happy. Thank you. You know what? I like happy colors. The rods and cones in my brain, when I wake up in the morning, I don't want to feel beige or plain. I want to feel happy and bright and cheery. Seeing these colors makes me feel better. And when I feel better, I do better. So thank you. All right, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to zip to the end of the 41 comments, and I'm going to scroll back. Okay. I'm going to see what we can find here. Somebody's got the gnomes. Yep, I get it. Okay. I have a hard time with changes in hobbies. I might go back to it. Here, I want to offer this to Cy Fry Nova. We all have seasons in our lives. So are the days of our lives. Where's my my little, what do you call it? Sand hourglass. Jelly Bee, I started at 10:30. I'm going to be here for another 37 minutes. No worries. No worries. Shh, quiet down the panic, okay? We all have seasons. I had a season I was into books. I had a season that I was into driving around and taking pictures of vintage diners. I had a season I was thinking about this morning where religiously every single day I went out and I made myself go on a morning walk. I have kind of slacked off on that. I want to get better at it. But just notice things may be a season. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season. Turn, turn, turn. The Bible and the birds says. Notice that about yourself and say, okay, this is something I used to have fun with. I'm not having fun with it right now. Don't judge yourself. Just get curious. Change things up. You're not meant to do the same thing over and over again. Are you still playing with Legos? Are you still playing with Weebles and little Fisher-Price little people? Maybe you are. That's cool. But many things you did when you were between the ages of 0 and 5, you don't do between 5 and 10. You don't do 10 to 15. Think about the ages you've been and the things you've been interested in. You are not the same person you are when you were born. Allow yourself to evolve into the person you want to be now that gets excited about stuff. I know that 10 or 15 years ago, I would have burst out laughing if you told me that I was going to be a life coach, a decluttering life coach. I would have been like, yeah, right. How can I coach people? Look at my freaking life. I feel horrible, Johnny. But things change. I actually really enjoy what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. So instead of going outside and doing things out in the world, I really am grooving on, as my friend Todd would say, what I'm doing now. Okay, so allow yourself to evolve into the person you want to be now and in the future. Okay, all right, just notice that. I would love a video to go back to about the recluttering you just said. Okay, Alice Schaefer and nobody else. Okay, here's a great thing, you guys. Do not fear. Underdog is here. All of my TikTok lives that I do, when there is not a technical glitch with YouTube, I download them from YouTube. Excuse me, I download them from TikTok, and they get uploaded to Destination Decluttered on YouTube. If you go there, there is a playlist called TikTok Lives. Literally, there are over 100 of them. Now, they're always organic. They always are based on the questions that people are asking. But I will share with you, the questions are over and over again the same thing. So later when I'm able to upload this one from, what day is today? It's so funny. I'm already pretending I'm in my office and looking at the calendar. January like 4th or whatever, I put the date on it, kind of put a note on it. But inevitably, I have said the same thing because I say the same things over and over again. Repetition helps things sink in. Repetition allows you to think of something and then until it clicks. All right? There we go. Okay. And I love this. Where's Wally says, to me, I see walls as a surface. I do too. I think your walls look cluttered. Yeah, whatever. They're my walls. Walls. Wally, see what I did there? Wally, they're my walls. I think they are just right. I do. They have just the right amount of stuff. But notice, it's too cluttered for you? Fine. Don't put as much stuff on your walls as I do. Okay? Everybody's got their own set point. Everybody has their own feeling of just right. Not too much, not too little, just right. For you, I may be too much. For me, I'm just right. And I love it. Yep, notice that. Okay. Oh yeah, I too am OCD. Please explain why your walls are not too cluttered to you. Okay, I will. Because everything I have hanging up in that room and in this room, it tells a story that brings me joy. Also, they are set up intentionally, artistically, in a way that is pleasing to my eye. So I look at them as a whole, and it doesn't look haphazard. It's not cluttered. Cluttered is like an amount of items. I also know that, like, for example, seriously, later today, this is funny you mention it, Wally, I'll share with you guys, that I was down the basement because I'm helping my husband declutter some of his stuff. I found a framed print that we had hanging in our old house, and then for literal practical decades when we've been in this house, hung in our bathroom. We painted the bathroom, it's a different color, so that print didn't work. So it was down the basement, and I was like, okay, I really like this thing, but if it's not working in this house, I want to figure out a better home for it because it feels bad to let it go down there. Remember we were talking about, giving things better homes? So I had this print just sitting in front of that chair right there. Actually, you can't see the chair. Okay, okay, so see, I can point that right there. See that print? That wasn't hanging there yesterday when I did my TikTok live. Something else was. And I said, well, you know what? Let me just try. Let me see what it looks like. And I was like, oh, I like how that looks there. Okay. But then that meant that I pulled the other print over. Now, I could have so then I started looking for a place that felt right to me to hang this other print. Now, if you notice here, there's a little bit of space behind here between the guitar. It's so funny trying to look at this stuff backwards. Between, you know what I mean? There's a little bit of space there. To me, I like how that wall looks. So I don't want to add anything else. To me, that one extra item would look too cluttered. So I started looking for a different area to hang it. And I found one. It's going to require me to reframe this. No big deal. After my TikTok live, I did that process. I went online. Michaels has a frame that's already pre-made. I ordered it online after this TikTok live this afternoon. I'm driving up to Michaels, reframing it. I'm going to hang the thing up. So notice that even me, you say it looks cluttered. I know that one extra piece of art on that wall would be too much. But to me right now, I want to keep it at a just right feeling for me. So I went kind of in a deep dive there to share with everybody. There is a thought process, being thoughtful and mindful about how your things, when you look at them, make you feel. To me, I love the stories that those things tell me and how it looks. There are other parts of our house. If you were to look in my office, there are blank walls because I also know that sometimes my eyes need a place to rest. My eyes need a place to engage, and it brings me joy, to everything turn. All right. Okay, Shauna is saying, I always think I will use it someday, then I can't find it. Overwhelmed with stuff. Okay, Shauna, right now, chunk this down. Have some fun with this. Pick an it. Pick an it. I bet those of you who have followed me for a while yet, and now that it's so funny, this is how my brain works. It's top of the hour. It's 11 a.m. here on Destination Decluttered. 11 a.m. Eastern anyway. My name is Beth. I am a decluttering life coach. You can find out more about what I do here on my TikTok page. Follow my TikTok page. If you want to get on my mailing list or for me to be your one-on-one coach, destinationDecluttered.com. 11 o'clock, I'll be here for another half hour doing this. Okay? Now back to your regularly scheduled program. For those of you who have been following me for a while yet, you have probably heard me talk in previous TikTok lives about the fact that down the basement, on a shelf for the past 6 to 8 months to a year, we have had a Instapot. I'm finally remembering the name of it. And we have that because my husband thought he wanted it because he does the cooking. So we got one. We tried it out. We made some food. It was okay. It wasn't no great shakes. So we weren't using it often. So we stored it somewhere out of the way. So if we wanted it, we knew where to get it. Well, I said to him, all right, this is something we think we're going to use someday. Let's make a plan. Okay, so in January, we're going to use it. That's the time for stews and yada, yada. So I took it and I brought it upstairs and it's been sitting on the counter and then it was on top of the fridge for a while and now it's back down on the counter. Well, notice we didn't use it at all in January. And the cool thing is, literally within the past couple days, my husband was like, yeah, you know what? I don't think we're going to use it. I am ready to let it go. We bought it, we used it. We thought we were going to use it more. We discovered we didn't. We are using our air fryer like nobody's business. That's something we bought, we thought we might use. We're using all over the place. So give yourself a chance. So Shauna and anybody, everybody here who has something in their house that they're thinking, I might use it someday. Go find one of those things and give yourself a timeline. Say to yourself, I'm going to use this by the end of February, and you have an extra day because it's a leap year, and I'm going to use it in February. And if you don't use it in February, I'm ready to let it go. And then give yourself an excuse to use it. And if you're not using it, that's okay. It's all right. We bring stuff into our lives. We think we're going to use it. We use it for a while. Sometimes it works for a long time. Our air fryer, sometimes it doesn't. Our, whatever the frick you call it, the Instapot. You can see how disassociated I am from it because I'm like, it doesn't even exist anymore in my mind, so why bother using the ear? Okay, there we go. All right, Gail, you are not alone. Gail DIY says, feel I am not alone. No, look at us. We have over 200 people right now and a sliver of time on a random Sunday in February. Millions of people in the U.S. and probably abroad, but I know what it's like to live in the U.S. because that's what I do. Millions of us struggle with too much stuff. We do because we live in a society that encourages us to not look inward but look outward, to look for an outward solution to an inward problem, to benefit the economy by making money, buying things because the things are supposed to make us happy. After we build up that amount of stuff that, we have a right amount that allows us to live easily and happily. But anything above that amount, notice how you feel like you're above over your head, you're overwhelmed, you're suffocating, it's too much. Too much. That's the clutter. Not everything. And everybody, you all have your right set point. Notice when I do that, I'm putting my hand near my heart and where my nervous system lives. I bet your nervous system lives kind of here. I don't imagine my toes and out here, but no, right here at the heart of it all, this is where it all happens. Okay? So you don't feel like you're alone. You're in good company. I love it. Where's Wally says, I declutter regularly. I feel unorganized. I do the same thing. But I also love how it looks, and also I don't pile up my clutter like I used to. There we go. What do we got here? Yep, ADHD and not enough space. Okay, I am a mess. Lisa B, you're not a mess. Stop telling yourself a mess. When you tell yourself a mess, how does that feel? Don't talk bad to yourself. You're not a mess. Some of my stuff that belongs to my grown children. Okay, people with grown children, here's where I am a grown child. I don't have children of my own, but I have nieces and nephews. Get those grown children to be accountable for their own shit. Take them into your house. Tell them, come get your shit or it's going away. You can stop that. When they're younger, it may be a slightly different story, But if their stuff is jamming up your life and they are adults, have them be accountable for their own stuff if they want it. And if they don't want it, have them also be accountable for getting away with it. Put a line in the sand. This is about you. I'm not here for them. I'm here for you. And if your life would feel better with their stuff out of your house, take the next step. Tell them you don't want their stuff in your house anymore. Okay? I'm struggling with this, and how can I effectively get my declutter effectively when I am struggling? Okay, Shauna, start with yourself. You can't teach somebody something you don't know. You don't ask somebody who doesn't know what they're doing to help you. I can help you with that. Get curious about why you're struggling with clutter. Is it because you were never taught? Is it because you don't have a lot of experience with it? Is it because your mind gets distracted? Is it because you don't have systems? It's because you're afraid to look at things, or you're not confident in the choices and the decisions you're making? Check all of the above, a little bit of everything. That's okay. When you discover what stops you, you can remove the roadblock to find and get started. And then you, my hip. Then you can better help your kids. Here's what I say all the time, and I truly, solidly believe this. Decluttering and learning how to not be cluttered is a life skill. Just like driving your car, just like anything that's going to benefit you and everybody around you, if they know how to do it and how to make it easy and simple, it is a life skill. You as a parent are here to kind of teach your baby birds how to fly out of the nest and survive on their own. This is a species thing. If you do too much for them, if you're always bringing the worms back to them and letting them stay in the nest, that does not help them at all. Temporarily, it may seem like you're doing a good thing. And Gen Xer here, maybe you're doing that as a reaction to the fact that you were pushed out of the nest long before you wanted to as a child. So notice that what you're doing isn't getting you the life you want, and it's not helping your kids either. If they don't know how to fend for themselves in a good way, if they don't have skills to go out into the world to make their own place look better and feel better and function better, whether they're living on their own, if they're in a dorm situation, if they're in a roommate situation, if they have a mate that they want to live with, if they're in a group home, knowing how to keep track of your own shit. And I say this because you can tell when I get all fired up, I'm dropping, the potty mouth. But I really emphatic about this. It is a life skill. If you don't know how to learn it, learn from somebody who does. I bet there's a lot of things about kids you didn't know how to do. You found somebody who was an expert who taught you how to do something. You knew how to do it. You helped your kids. Okay. All right. Andrea Parker is saying, I did a bathroom remodel. Awesome. All my stuff is in the next room on the bed. Bathroom finished two minutes ago? 2 minutes? Maybe 2 months? Okay. Okay, thank you. I just saw the 2 months. Okay. Get curious. Why is the stuff on the bed? Here's something I want to clue you all in on. Anything that's clutter that you haven't used in 2 months, your life is going on fine without it. You are living the life you live without using any of the stuff you have in storage. Mic drop. Okay. So maybe, Andrea, you really enjoy the minimalist look of your bathroom. You could seriously, maybe, I don't know, only you know the answers. I posit the questions, and I ask you with love and encouragement to just listen and listen for the answer in you. And say, maybe I don't even need this stuff. If I haven't used it in 2 months, if I haven't put it away, maybe I don't need it at all. Maybe I need very much fewer things than I thought. You remodeled your bathroom. It doesn't have to be the same. It does not have to have all the stuff in it that used to. Okay? Notice that stuff. ADD, hard to organize. One of the things I will offer to you is, one of the things, at least the traits in my mind that I love to use, is my pattern matching brain. So organizing can talk about putting matches together. You know what I mean? Like and not matches like a fire, but like here's some paperwork. Here's some stuff that I used to use in this job. Here's all my moisturizers. Here's my toothpaste. Here's my soaps. Here's my loofahs. Whatever it is, have a game with it. Instead of a big pile, categorize your stuff. Categories. Start to categorize in a way that makes sense to you, and it makes sense to you. Okay? Uh-huh. Okay, Darlene has the depression syndrome, and I assume you mean like the depression era of the 1920s and 30s. I can't just get rid of stuff that has value. Don't just get rid of it then. The solution is in what you just said. Don't just get rid of it. Find a better home for it than your home. The stuff that has value, offer it up to the world. Do my neighbors, does anybody need, like, seriously, here's the thing with that quick cooker that we have that we're going to get rid of. I know our friends probably have one because they're all early adopters to those trendy things. We are definitely not like that because I really consider the stuff that comes in. But it's like, okay, doesn't belong here. Where's a good place for it? I thought about this on my way home and I was like, you know what? There is a thrift store in my town that helps privileged people. I'm going to put it in a box and donate to there. It doesn't work in our house. It still has value, but it's not, its value is being lost when it sits in my house. So don't just get rid of it. Find a place that isn't your home that people can use the things that you have value. Okay? I have decluttered about 75% of my house, but it's been over 3 years since Flowers won. Okay? 3 years ago. That was 2021. You're probably a different person than you were 3 years ago. Think of decluttering as kind of not never ending, but it is a thing you do. You every season weed your garden. Pull out the leaves, pull out the dead stuff that doesn't do it for you anymore. Leave room for new growth or just space. So, Flowers won. I bet there's stuff that you kept 3 years ago that you said, I might use this someday. I might fit into this clothing. I might make this, food thing. I might take up that hobby. I might exercise. I might whatever. Ask yourself with curiosity and love and not judgment. Okay, am I doing that stuff? And the neat thing is when you ask that question to yourself and you pause and you listen for the answers, and if the answer is no, again, curiosity. All right, why not? I really want to, but I don't have time. Okay, can I make time? I really want to, but I don't have space. Okay, we can make space. Or, you know what? I thought I wanted to do that, and now when I think of it, it's not like, yay, it's like, meh. Don't spend your time on meh or ugh stuff. Spend your time on, yay, I really enjoy this. And the stuff that you lights you up now may not be the same things that lit you up 3, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 years ago. It could be and probably is different. Allow yourself to be different than you were 3 years ago. And love yourself at every era. Okay? Notice that. Okay, yeah. It's one box, one tub to go through at a time. Sometimes I have to make a final decision another day. Yes, but as long as, here's the deal, it is a process. It is a process. Like, for example, after I do this TikTok live, and my husband and I we already talked about it, I've gotten really good. I have decluttered a lot of my stuff and a lot of the sentimental stuff at our house. And my sentimental stuff. He has his sentimental stuff. He has decades worth of memorabilia from prior to when I met him and still continuing on in the last 20 plus years that we've been married. And there are some things that you just like, I'm not sure what I want to do with it, but there are different things you can weed out. You can decrease, if you have a pile like this, even if you kind of quote only do half of it, you have still cut the amount of stuff in half, and what you're left with is more quality, less quantity. I had this idea. I don't know if he's going to hear me, but I'm going to posit this question to him with suggestion and possibility, like, hey, this could be really cool, and a little bit of background. My husband's a musician, has been all his life. He's been in bands, he's worked with bands and all these things. And what I realized yesterday when he was going through a lot of these random tubs of shit that he has saved, and I didn't mean to say his stuff that he has saved for whatever reason for him, is that it's a mishmash. And while he's storing it again, it's kind of mixed up. Here's when I did, this is when I was with this band. This is when I was that band. This is when I worked with this band. It's all kind of in layers. It's not organized. And I'm going to offer to him when I get off my TikTok live, hey, how about this? Maybe one of the categories you do today when you're going through this is this a band I was in? If so, what band was it? And making different piles. This is a band, this is a band, this is a band. Oh, this is when I went on tour with this band. This is when I did this thing. This is somebody I did work for. Different categories, and then you can weed through it better. Okay. Okay. Carissa 824, you're saving clothes that I loved from 2016. That was 7+ years ago. Just saying. Hoping I'll fit into them again. I think this is a sign. We can hope, but hope is kind of a static thing. I hope I'll win the lottery. In order to make that happen, to fit into them again, you're probably going to need to take an action based on the hope. You have the hope in your heart, you want to win the lottery, you got to take an action. You got to walk down to the Save More and you got to buy your ticket. If I'm hoping I'm going to fit into these clothes, it's not going to happen without you doing something. If the clothes are too big, you're going to need to gain weight. If the clothing is too small for your body now, you're going to need to do some things to small in your body. Hope is a hope, but taking action, doing something to get the result you want is going to. And if you haven't in the last 7 years, just notice that. Do not beat yourself up. Just notice it. Okay? I have plenty of clothing that I used to fit into. Don't fit into anymore. Probably never will. And I, too, am going through that process of, wow, okay, 50 plus years old. This is what my body looks like. This is how, going through menopause. I've got fat where I ain't never had fat before, Jay. It takes so much longer to lose any weight. It's frustrating. But I am endeavoring, I'm with you guys, I'm endeavoring to love my body how it is now and not beat myself up about what I used to be, but love that person back then, love this person now. Okay? So notice these things. And I love it. Flowers is offering an idea. Where is it? I saved, past tense, clothes. I finally decided, make a decision. If I lose weight, I deserve new clothes. Better thought. Notice, in the past, I used to do that. I made a decision that in my head was a different sentence. I deserve new clothes. When I say, if I lose weight, I'm going to buy myself some new clothes. Okay, that makes me feel better about releasing the old clothes that I don't fit into. Yeah, second menopause here. Why is everything so hot? God, did you notice how much I am wiping off the sweat? Now, granted, I went for a walk, but you know what? We got to love our bodies where we are. When we start to feel bad, we are wasting energy that could be used for something better. Okay? All right. I'm moving from a townhouse to a studio apartment, and I need to declutter a lot. Help, says Mary. Okay, Mary. Decide, envision. This is what, if I was in my office and I was doing a TikTok live, a scheduled one, which I do have more of. I'm going to be doing a video later today, but if you want to find out more of that, as soon as I get off of this TikTok live, and everybody from here has signed up for the mailing list at destinationdecluttered.com/join, I'm going to send out an email letting you know when all my TikTok lives are going to be for the next week. Because the following week, I don't know what I'm going to do. This is how I roll. But what I want to offer to you is, if I was in my office, I would be pointing to a heart on the wall. Notice the heart here, notice the heart here. I feel like I'm like what do you call it? A saint. I'm like a saint. Notice, envision your townhouse exactly how you want it. How do you want it to look? How do you want to feel in that townhouse? Before you even move into it, start to declutter the stuff that does not match how you want it to look or feel or function. That will decrease your stuff. If you're unsure about some things, even just from when you're packing, organize your stuff into these are things I definitely want, and this is kind of stuff I'm on the fence. This is the stuff that gives a green light in my heart. This is the stuff that's more of like a yellow light. Ugh, I'm not sure, I might use it. When you're packing away, green light, yes, so that when you go into your place, then start to observe how you want to live in that house. Notice how Upthread, again, I'm bad with names, but somebody said, realtor maybe, renovated the bathroom and stuff's been on the bed for 2 months. Notice how you live in your space. How much stuff do you need? I discourage people from opening up everything and setting up shop without living in your space first. Because when you live in your space first and you what do I want to say? You unbox things incrementally as you need them, you will notice the stuff that you don't organically need. Now, some of that may be seasonal, some of that may be sentimental, but notice the right number of things for you that allow you to live your everyday life the way you're currently living it. That will also give you a clue as to stuff that you may be easier for you to let go. Okay? There we go. I hate moving. That's okay. I love it. I hate moving. That's why my shit from the bathroom is still in the bed. Okay. No, you're not lazy, but get curious. And I love this. Andrea Parker. Notice that you're a realtor and you hate people, you help people move. But you have a thought in your head, I hate moving. What's bringing on the hate? There's a story in your head about that's causing you to feel the hate about the moving. Now maybe it's just maybe it's not moving, but it's like moving your physical body. I don't know. Get curious, people. I feel like Maya Quimby. Get curious about the thoughts in your head that make you feel a feeling. And when you feel a feeling, you do a thing. All right? when you have a lousy thought in your head, the lousy ones usually come unbidden. You do not create those. They are 24/7 kind of chattering little unhelpful in the back seat. Notice that's only half the story. When you quiet them down, you can start to listen for and create a better story, a better thought in your head that counteracts the unhelpful one. And you can do this. It takes practice. It may seem weird to begin with. All I have to do is tell myself a better story. Yeah, kind of. Because when you think better, you feel better. When you feel better, you do better. I am a living example of that. I used to think lousy. I felt lousy. I did lousy. Now that I think better and actively work on thinking better, I feel better. And when I feel better, I am more likely to do the thing, to take the action, and take the action that I may be scared to do to get the result I want. Scared to go say hi to somebody. Scared to say to somebody, I'm struggling and need help. Scared to say, hey, I want this in my life. But when you take that action towards what you want, as opposed to being afraid and holding back, that's how you get the life you want. Okay? Oh, somebody's got pellet hormones. I love it. Oh, interesting. Yeah, we're all going. You know what? Trust me, ladies. I just started some hormone stuff. I will keep you posted on it. Getting organized, packing and unpacking. Okay, getting organized. Notice you don't like that. Get curious about that. Chunking it down. Getting organized. Here's the thing. Remember I said earlier, I'm giving you some really good stuff here. Decluttering is a life skill because total decluttering, life skill. Decluttering, heart. Decluttering is getting better at listening to yourself and making decisions. I shouldn't be doing that. I'm not pointing, but it's so important. Making decisions based on what you want. Do I want this in my life or not? If I want this thing, where does it go? Decision. If I don't want this, where does it go? When you get better at making decisions, and all it takes is practice. Trusting your gut, trusting you're getting the message. You know when you've made the decision to get rid of something and it's easy, it's because you've got a green light up here and a green light here. It goes. Or green light here, it stays. I don't even know where my comings and goings are right now. However, when there's a green light here, but there's a red or yellow light here, causes friction because you're saying, I want to keep this, and your heart is saying, let it go. Or you're saying, I want to let this go, and your heart is saying, keep this. I think hopefully I just did the opposite. When there is a disconnect, when there is friction between these two things, the hands don't know what to do, so the hands don't do anything. Head, heart, hands. Teaching yourself, learning to make decisions that make you feel better about where you're going and what the life you want, and then doing the things, that is a skill to learn, which my coaching teaches you. And it is, it's not just about decluttering. Think about in your life where you've made a decision that has gotten you more of what you want and less of what you don't. Also the flip, where have you made a decision that makes you feel stuck and not where you want to be? Also, again, kind of hearkening back to the people who have kids of any age, is teaching them this skill. There's never too late to learn this skill. If anything, what I have learned in the fact that I really have only started to get my poop and the scoop in the last 8 years or so, kind of since I turned 50, is the more I do this, better my life gets. So the quality of life has improved. That means the quality I have of life every day, regardless of the quantity of years I have, is going to be better. So I learned a lot to what not do in the first 50 years of my life. But I also pull through to say, when did I do stuff? When did I get to have the life I want? And it was when I made a decision to get in touch with what I really wanted. I listened to my heart, I listened to my head, and then I took an action that got me incrementally one step closer. Okay. Interesting. So, Maria, hello from the UK. Our houses are small with no storage. Yes, I've noticed that about houses in the UK. This is when you need to get even extra crafty. Notice how those houses were built for people who lived in a time of life where they owned far fewer things. Notice those. I even remember when I was growing up, our next door neighbor's house was like a Dutch colonial, and their garage, their closets were so shallow because people had very few clothes to hang up back in the day. So you couldn't even put a hanger sideways because there was no hangers; it was hooks. Notice that the way that your house is designed, it was designed for people with far fewer things. So in order to work with the storage you have, you need to get extra crafty and extra kind of paring down of what you want, and also realizing how much stuff do I actually need. And I won't offer this to you. I personally, and it could vary at times of life, you may need far fewer things than you need. Okay? Then you getting crafty to store the things you've decided you want in a way that you're easily able to access them, and it looks good to you. It looks good, it feels good, and it functions well. Okay? Erin, how do I get started getting rid of clothes? I have too much. Start with the clothes you're not wearing. Ask yourself why you're not wearing them. Categorize them into that. Am I wearing this? Do I wear it now? Do I keep it? You know? Notice that. Yes, I love it. When I'm decluttering, flowers one, and I love that Shell likes this too. I don't take out any more than I can get rid of that day or find its home. Yes, do not, please, everybody, let me save you some grief, some drama. Do not pull everything out of any storage thing. That is guaranteed to overwhelm you, discourage you, run out of energy, and fail. Any place you are storing something can be chunked down into smaller sections. Think about this. Stored items are going to be in a drawer or behind doors. So in your bedroom, in your closet, in your bathroom, anywhere you have drawers, multiple drawers, a drawer at a time. Don't do all the drawers. Start with one. Dump it out. Sort it out. Categorize it. Decide what things, how many of each category you need that work well, and which ones can you do without. Weed through and pull out the stuff that just you aren't doing it anymore. Put that stuff in a donation box. Put the things back into that drawer. Shut the drawer and congratulate yourself. As I like to say, a Liz Lemon high five. Thank you, Tina Fey. Congratulate yourself on what you did do. And then check yourself before you wreck yourself. Check yourself, check your energy. Do I have enough time and energy to do another drawer? If the answer is yes, open up another drawer. Lather, rinse, repeat. But every time you stop, check in with yourself. Do I have enough time and energy to make these decisions? I know yesterday when my husband was going through his totes of band stuff, he started out with a lot of energy, because we often do. Every time you make a decision, it drains your gas tank of decision making. So then as you go further through it, you might find yourself slowing down, hemming and hawing, getting tired, being kind of done, because it takes some of your cognitive load. Honor that. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Pull out a little bit and be psyched of what you did. Then the next time you have energy and even a little bit of time, lather, rinse, repeat. That, my friends, is how you do it. That is how you do it. Okay? That's how you do it. Okay. I love it. Painting of a Duck says, I watched one of your YouTube lives and got through almost all of my kids' art and craft supplies. I love it. There we go. Nicole Daly said, so funny. I just started organizing one drawer in my dresser. I said, just do one drawer. Yes. Yes. Okay. Nettie Stowell, I want to call you on this in a loving way for everybody, because this is so important. I only have a minute left. That's what I need to do. But it's so hard. But it's so hard is a thought in your head. It is words. It is a sentence. You just wrote it down there. Notice the words in your head are making you feel a feeling. And when you feel a feeling, you do a thing. When you think it's going to be hard, it's going to be hard. When you think it might not be as bad as I think, that's a slightly better way of thinking of it. So I want to leave you with this. Nettie, everybody. Okay, Kit Kat, our room is full of items you can't decide on. Put that stuff aside, give it a break, and then come back to those things. Are you ready to make a decision? Sometimes we have some limbo stuff for a while. But baby steps in it. Baby steps in it. But here's what I want to leave you with. If you think it's going to be hard, You're going to feel it's going to be hard. It will be hard. You're not going to do it. You're going to resist it. You're not even going to get started. Here's a much better, more helpful thought. Maybe this won't be as hard as I think it's going to be. Let me see. I'm just going to I'm just going to try this. Maybe it's not going to be as hard as my backseat drivers are showing me. I will set my timer for 20 minutes. I will set my timer for 30 minutes, and I'll just see what happens if I start to declutter. Is it as hard as I think it's going to be? And if I start to feel that this is hard, I'm going to stop and I'm going to notice what thought comes up into my head when this is hard. And I want to offer that it's probably because of decision making, but also decision making in a kind of involving a story behind your stuff. Start with your surface clutter. Start with the stuff that doesn't mean so much here, and notice that you can make decisions. And the more that you practice making decisions, it's like working out with weights. You will get stronger at that. You will build a neural pathway in your brain from your head to your heart to your hand, and you will say, every time I show up to declutter, I am creating more of the life that I want, and I'm getting rid of stuff that just doesn't do it for me anymore. And the more that I do this thing, the more I love looking at that place, expanding it, and when it looks good, I feel good, and when I feel good, I do good. Okay? Now, I would love to be here for another half hour or whatever. I cannot be, so I know there's a whole bunch of messages that I don't need. I have right here. Okay? I really hope that however much you heard of me today for the last hour helped you. Kind of as I sign off, my name is Beth, Destination Decluttered here on TikTok. I do TikTok lives often. I do them pop-up wise occasionally on the weekends where I don't know what time I'm starting, but I will usually start on the hour or the bottom of the hour. If you follow me here on TikTok, you will get a notification as to when I go live. Also, speaking of notifications, if you join my free email mailing list that I swear is not spam, it's just good stuff, is destinationdecluttered.com/join. Sign up for the mailing list. The people on the mailing list since Friday already know when I'm showing up this week so they can plan around it. Those of you who are signing up today, this afternoon you'll get an email that's going to give you the sneak preview to the link for our monthly group Zoom that's free for just the people on the mailing list. You'll get the dates and times of my next TikTok lives for the next week or so, and you get first dibs on the calendar that shows the availability of when you and I can have a consultation if you want me as your one-on-one coach for 10 weeks, 20 weeks, 30 weeks, 40 weeks, however long you want me in your life one-on-one, paid coaching to get you to where you want to go. Okay? Sally, I just seen your thing. Yep, destinationdecluttered.com. Okay, here's an actual sneaky, easy peasy thing. When I sign off, go to the page, go to the YouTube page, the TikTok page for my coaching, Destination Decluttered. Right there at the bottom, it says destinationdecluttered.com/links. Just click on that hyperlink, and that will bring you to my website that has a page of all the ways it's just like the one-stop shop, like the link tree to all the things. Signing up for the mailing list, the calendar for consultations, stuff like that there. Other things you get the links only when you sign up for the mailing list. Okay? DestinationDecluttered.com. DestinationDecluttered.com. I say this because I love to travel, and life is a road trip. Life is driving a little bit at a time at a pace that feels good, enjoying the scenery, and while you're doing that, you are creating the life you want as you go towards your destination. Okay? There we go. Let's go, Lex. Got depressed that my business is slow. Changed my mind. Change your mind, change your life. To use this time to tackle my house. Yes, when you feel better, you're going to do better. Okay? Yes, you are the only person can determine these things. So start to get comfortable making decisions based on you and what you want in your life and what you don't want in your life. Start with the clutter and move outwards, and you're going to have a life that's filled with what you want and as much less of what you don't want. Okay? There we go. I will see you the next time I do a TikTok live. All right?